Hello and welcome to another episode on Talk Right Today. And Talk Right Today talks about a very key area of soft skills. It is something that's less spoken about, and that's actually the way it is. It's about body language. Very important. It involves quite a few elements of your own self. And me, Santosh, and Mayur are going to talk about it and maybe make an effort in improving our body language through in our course of our careers. Over to you, Mayur.
Thank you. Good day, viewers, and a very warm welcome to this particular session. Santosh, as usual, fantastic to see you as well. Body language. I remember when I entered the corporate arena many years ago, and I got a chance to deliver a presentation. And it was a presentation to our internal software engineers, and
Yeah.
I was in sales. So of course, I was good in presentation, is what I thought, because I knew what I had to say. I was very confident when I stood and I presented. And after the presentation was over, my senior manager came up to me, and at that point of time, I really hadn't heard of this word. He said to me that, "Hey, Mayur, you know what? सब ठीक ठाक था, but impact नहीं था यार. Impact होना चाहिए ना. Convincing होना चाहिए. तू अच्छा बोला. You covered everything. You must have really, done your homework. But remember, there are people. उनको convince करना है." So I was like listening, yes. So where was your body language? सिर्फ इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज से काम नहीं चलता है. Body language. So first time I got to know what is body language, and that's when I understood that there are three styles of body language or ways. One is the best, the other two we need to ignore, but I want to put it in front of you viewers. The first one is the one which we should completely not look at, but I'm just putting it in front. It's called the passive or the non-assertive body language. It's that where there is nothing that comes out with respect to your self-confidence and your conviction and your belief. So that we should keep away. There's something which is totally the opposite, which is aggressive body language, where you're so aggressive, it comes in the form of a dominant nature, where people probably who want to say something in the presentation will keep quiet. So aggression presentation में नहीं होना चाहिए, and body language which becomes a carrier of that also should be avoided. So passive body language को avoid करना है, aggressive body language को avoid करना है, and the one that is really what we need to focus, and probably Santosh and me will focus more on, is assertive body language. Assertive is where you assert. See, aggression is where the confidence level is a little too much. Assertiveness is where you have a very balanced level of self-confidence. There is respectfulness in your self-confidence. So assertive should be the way we emote our emotions and our knowledge through our body language. And probably later on, we'll focus a little bit on, the actual ways of using our body language.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are these key elements one needs to think about? One, of course, is your hand movement, and very classic example is your handshake, right? I mean, handshake, I know now it's a virtual world, but whenever you have that handshake, and I think if I have to go one step ahead, in the coming days to weeks to months to years, it will be our Indian namaste. But having said that, whenever that handshake, if at all ever comes up, then it's a firm one that's required. Then it's about hand movements, right? Then it's about your head, the head nod, very typical to Indians, okay? Because if you talk to somebody abroad, they're like, okay, so culturally it's very important to understand the head movement, the nodding, the yes, no's, because someone may take it the other way around. For me, this is yes, but someone may think that is no. It's an element of the way you perceive it. The next one, of course, and very key, is your eye contact, direct eye contact. We'll talk more about it in the course of the session. Of course, then next comes is it's really related to your head, and of course, it's your shoulder movement, how balanced they are, how relaxed they are, how are they very aggressive like this, Yeah, so it's about the shoulders, the neck, direct eye contact. So these are the key elements, I would say, are visible. Okay, these are very visible, and very important is the way you sit, the way you walk, the way you talk. All that matters. So this is a basic flavor of this body language, and what is exactly what Mayur was saying. It has to be very balanced. It shouldn't be aggressive. And I can give you one example. In fact, maybe
Sure.
I can give right away. I had a colleague who used to report into me, and the issue was that she is to talk very exactly as you put, very aggressively, whatever be that, but very aggressive. And especially you can imagine the situation during performance appraisals. Even deep breathe, you could hear her breathing issues. I mean, I would actually pause and say, is there a panic attack? I don't want that to happen as a last thing. So there are ways to handle it. Meditation, of course, we've spoken about it in a couple of our sessions, but then it's very important you manage that. You got to control that. People take it in a very different sense. Then there are these very typical and very happens, in fact it even can happen to you and me, is the usage of a certain word on a almost so much of a continuous basis, like that it becomes very irritating, at point in time where you just can't take it anymore. So one or two, three, four are okay, but when it goes beyond the point, it becomes very irritating to the listener. So that's
Sure.
that's one example. I do have come across such
Sure.
issues.
So Santosh, what we will talk, we viewers, we brought in the and the basicallys also, but these are a little bit too, with respect to what we will do in one of our future sessions, which is
Yes.
verbal communication.
Yes.
Why, Santosh, you brought it up is because it is connected to body
Yeah.
language.
Yeah.
In fact, what connects something to body language at an emotional level is our attitude.
Yeah.
And I've seen this, that when a person is nervous or fearful, he has that anxiety, कि लोग क्या बोलेंगे, क्या होगा, it affects the body. And the language that comes out is that of nervousness. So the word that comes to my mind, which viewers, you need to be careful about when you are presenting especially, is fidgetiness, being
Correct.
fidgety. This sort of uneasiness is because you're internally feeling uneasy. So where I come from is this: if you want to have strong body language, you need to have a strong mind. Plan, prepare, practice, which will help you to perform with the highest level of self-confidence. And that is where your hand movements, and in hand movements, a couple of things. Whenever you're speaking, your hand should try to not keep your hands below your waist, sideways. Now, I know you can't see a lot of me viewers, but I'm just telling you a few things which you can see now. When you're speaking, try to use this movement, which is called the open hand chop. Now, when I say chop, it's not the karate chop. It's about when you're asserting. For example, if Santosh were to ask me, Mayur, for the next week sessions, how many sessions do you think we should, record for our viewers? I could say, Santosh, we could look at three videos. The first one we could look at is verbal communication. We can look at conflict management, and we can look at the other one. When I use my hands, it also shows how confident I am. It makes me also look more structured in my mind. So my confidence gets translated through my body language. So this is the open hand, and I'm using it even to show, bifurcations, divisions, and asserting. Mayur, are you sure that you'll be able to cover, or we can cover? Definitely. So this hit with a little bit of an aggression, but a good one, not too much, a little bit, also shows my confidence. This is
Yeah.
one of the things we can talk. In fact, Santosh, in the future, when we have our actual seminar on presentation skills, where we will focus on body language, I think we will do it in a way where we'll also show you some more aspects, like walk the talk. Maybe
Yeah.
I can just highlight in a very simple way. When you're standing and there are people, and if you have space, sometimes you have a U-shaped seating arrangement, walk a little closer to the audience. It's called walking the talk. When you walk a few steps, even a few steps to the audience, it shows your confidence. So hand movements, eye contact, Santosh brought in a good point, which is part of your body language, right? Your eyes. Try to always look at the face. Don't look into the eyes, because it creates a wrong impression that you're staring. People don't like to be stared at. Look at the face. Also, don't look down, because it shows that you're not very confident, you're not sure. Don't keep, just looking for some time and looking somewhere else. Don't avoid eye contact. Your confidence will come up with the combination of good hand movements, great eye contact, and what we will talk about later, which Santosh wonderfully alluded to, is verbal communication. Even the repetition of those words, and then even speaking very fast, these are
Yeah.
all also related to nervousness.
True.
So if you have a good body language, friends, your personality comes across fantastically well. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I would also add two more. One, of course, is space. And when I say space, and give you an example, it's like, when you're in an elevator, you are in a closed area, and then you need to be very careful with what you talk. That's one issue. But again, vis-a-vis that, when you are actually meeting somebody in a meeting room, then you need to maintain a certain distance. So that also is very important in your body language, because the moment you're in an elevator, the feeling is everybody's trying to grab and occupy your own personal privacy and your space. Vis-a-vis in a meeting room or in an office desk area, that
Yeah.
space again makes a difference between your cubicle and the other cubicle or the seat or whatever that is. And of course, most important, I would also add in body language, of course, will come is also your tonality, your voice modulation. It's a very different, vast subject, but again, the way you talk, the way you put across the point, again, it's the same thing, assertiveness, not the way you should be aggressive or too very passive, but it has to be, very rationed. It has to be very justified. And that's very important when your tonality comes in and makes a lot of difference.
Yeah. So just a couple of things. Please remember the words, viewers: impact, inspiration, and initiative. I repeat: impact, inspiration, initiative. Why? Is because when you make a presentation, when you communicate with anybody, there's always an objective, isn't it? Like when a boss calls you, you are going there to say something, or somebody may ask you a question, you need to. So there's an objective behind every time, every expression. In fact, I say when you go for interviews, when you go for your performance appraisals, like Santosh was talking about earlier, that is where you have to be at your best. Why? Because it's not just about answering. You need to create the right impact.
Yeah.
You need to be inspired, and you need to be a person where the other person feels that you will take the initiative. Remember where I'm coming from. The first two are about impact and being inspired, creating the impact, being inspired. But for the other person to feel this guy really is dependable, I think he will take the initiative and do something. For that, your confidence has to be, it has to be reflected through your body language. And I think the tonations or the intonations and the modulations are so important. I'm only saying, Santosh, that we can probably look at that as another separate feature,
Exactly.
because
Yeah.
there are so many things we can talk about. Like while you speak on the telephone, how should be your tonality? And when there are 10 people, how do you talk? When there's one person, how do you? And this elevator thing that you spoke about is so important. Remember, from my side, I only want to say, viewers, is wherever you are, with whomever you speak, whatever that you may have planned to speak, and if there's a purpose behind it, wherever you may be, elevator, in the interview room, even at the shop floor, maybe at a wedding, if that, where, what, how, everything is proper in your mind, get your body language, your verbal modulations, and your eye contact. These three things, get it together. And maybe, Santosh, I'm just saying this, that maybe in the future we should have something separate just on body language, on verbal modulations,
Yeah.
because we can literally demonstrate to you how we can modulate, and look for that video as well, probably.
Absolutely. So it's very key in conclusion from both me, Santosh, and Mayur. We would only simply say that it has to be very rational. It has to be very assertive. It shouldn't be animated in any way. And
Yeah.
I think it's very important that you maintain or you carry yourself well. I think that's the bottom line. So that's
And
about it. Yeah.
don't point. Santosh, one more thing. I just, sorry. The one good thing about our videos and our sessions are it's a little spontaneous. So please, viewers,
Yeah.
allow me, because I don't want to miss this. Is when you're in a meeting, there are people. Don't point finger. Not fingers, but finger. In fact, if you want to point a finger, because pointing one finger shows aggression. Remember that. Okay, if I'm like saying this right now, Santosh, what you're saying is, Santosh, what you're saying, Santosh, what you're saying with this finger pointing is not the right way. You want to point to the person, then use four fingers.
Yeah.
Santosh, I think what you're saying, this is
Yeah.
more diplomatic.
Very important. Yeah.
This is assertive. This is assertive. No hand showing could be passive.
Yeah.
Assertive, aggressive, aggressive, aggressive. Like the right word he said, animated.
Yeah.
एक trainer था. I was a participant. Mr. Kalbag and participants, you got to. तो मेरा दोस्त बैठा था. We were in sales, right? तो मेरे को दोस्त बोलता है, I think साला वो और बात करेगा तो हाथ गिर जाएंगे यार. So
it's
much.
True. It's true. It
And
happens.
we and
imagine
it
he was a
happened.
trainer. I mean, that's the sad
See,
part.
what they do is they try to use over too much body language to as if believe that by that they will hypnotize us.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, कोई तो बोला बहुत solid बात किया लेकिन समझा कुछ नहीं.
That's
So
the tragedy.
like the point you said is, we got to be sensible even in the way we not get animated and aggressive. We need to use it in the right way. So that's where I come from, and I think for now this is good enough, I think, for the viewers, right?
Yes, of course. So on that note, from me, Santosh and Mayur, stay in touch on these videos. You can always subscribe on videos on our YouTube channel, which is Talk Right Today. And of course, we would love to hear from you on our email ID, which is talkrighttoday@gmail.com. Do send in your emails. From me, Santosh and Mayur, bye-bye for now.
Bye bye. See you.